Ken Jenkins has seen, heard, and is an expert on such things and a lot more. Aviation crisis consultant Ken Jenkins joins us this morning here at News Radio 840. Hi, Ken.
Hey, good morning, Tony.
Good morning. So I'm reading this story that was sent to us in a study from the Expedia Airplane Etiquette Study, ranked the top onboard etiquette violators as reported by passengers. Rear seat kickers, 67% of the study respondents said they've been kicked. Their seats been kicked. Inattentive parents, I guess some people, depending on where they are, feel that way. And what we call the aromatic passenger, it's like 56%. So what are your thoughts about all this?
Well, I've read the same study, Tony. I have to say I find it somewhat amusing, but at the same time, it can be very disturbing today. Flights are full. I mean, everybody that flies today knows that. I mean, it's there are no more. The days of having that middle seat open where you have some extra leg room and space are gone, and bag fees are up, and you have to bring your own food, and if you're tall, for heaven's sake, forget it, you have no leg room. And so people get cranky when they fly, and so a lot of people keep it in. And then you have those that don't, and when they don't, we start to see those things on the news, and flights being diverted, and air marshals, holding people down. I mean, it's embarrassing, say, on the social climate today of travel.
I was noticing some tweets that were brought out in a story 3 or 4 months ago, and people took photos, tweeting out people putting their feet up on, it was just disgusting, on seats and every other thing you can imagine, and then putting their legs up in the air and letting their feet crawl over on the other side of that. I can't imagine people really traveling this way.
But, I remember several years ago flying once, and I saw a young lady next to me take out one of those disinfectant wipes to wipe down the tray table, and I thought that was kind of interesting because I've flown for over 30 years. I've never, gotten sick because I was traveling or anything like that, so I've been very fortunate. But now, based on some of the things that I've seen in the media about what's on the tray tables and
Right.
watching people take their shoes off and put their feet up and whatnot, I can certainly appreciate the disinfectant wipe. I really can. And, I was surprised in the Expedia study that one of the rankings, they had 6, and you pointed out the top 3 or 4 there, were the people who lean back their seats. And because we've seen quite a bit of that on the news recently about people who, lean back, and that certainly encroaches on your space, which is very limited already today. So I was surprised that didn't make the list.
Yeah, a lot of people complain about that. I quit doing it the last couple of times I've flown just because I didn't know that it bothered people so much. But really, I mean, it's there for you to be able to do it, and so
it is.
I did
What's funny about that too is, and maybe not so much in the humorous ways. I always ask. I turn to the person behind me and say, "Hey, I'd like to recline my seat."
Yeah.
I've never had anybody turn me down, but I do it as a courtesy because I know when I have, say, my computer open, and the person in front of me just, slaps that seat back so quickly,
right.
It can spill your coffee or your beverage that you have, but it can crunch the computer. So I just do it as a courtesy. I think if people were more courteous, knowing when they get on a plane, look, this isn't most likely going to be the most pleasant experience if it's full. The other thing is, you have everybody kind of competing for baggage space on board a plane. So a tip for the listeners is, baggage fees are up there. They cost a lot of money. But most airlines, and I don't know of any with the exception of maybe Spirit, there may be another one out there that does this, but most airlines like American and Delta, for example, if you take your bag through security and then check it at the gate, they don't charge you for that because they think it's a courtesy that you're not going to carry it on board the plane and create this congestion, of everybody trying to stow their luggage in the overhead. And the other nice thing about checking it at the gate is if it's the last one put on board the airplane on the aircraft, it's usually the first one off.
Right.
So a tip to the wise there.
Yeah, I think you raised some excellent points here, no question about it. What do you do? What can one do if you can see an agitated flyer, really giving the staff grief, that kind of thing, continuing on, maybe even threatening physical violence? Anything you recommend to people listening?
Well, it's unfortunate because it's starting to happen more and more, but in context of the number of flights that occur today, Tony, it's really a very small percentage of flights, but it is important to be aware of your surroundings and certainly not to contribute to the escalation of what's going on, but call the attention of the behavior to the flight attendant. Most likely, the flight attendant already knows. They deal with this on a daily basis. So we need to keep in mind also, if they're grumpy, there's probably a reason for it. It may not be you. It may be the passenger that was next to you or behind you that kind of set it off. So the more pleasant you are, the more pleasant the flight attendants will be, and you'll get more cooperation from them as well.
Great to talk to you, Ken. Thanks.
Thank you, Tony.
It's Ken Jenkins, Aviation Crisis Consultant here, News Radio 840 WHAS 14.